welcome to the Art of Franchise Marketing. Each episode takes a deep dive into the franchise space and explores how the biggest and best brands handle national branding, franchise development, employee recruitment, and localized marketing on a daily basis. This podcast is brought to you by NetCertive, a localized digital marketing partner for franchise networks. NetCertive talks shop with franchise executives to discuss what's working, what's not, and answers the question, what else can you be doing to excel at the art of franchise marketing?
Hello, and welcome to the Art of Franchise Marketing. I'm your host, Erin Martin, and this episode is brought to you by NetCertive. Today, our guest is Ryan Parsons, the CEO of Evive Brands, which is a parent company of 7 health and home service brands with over 1,000 franchise locations nationwide. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
And so to kick it off, can you give just a little bit more about your background and your current role at Evive Brands?
Sure. I'll go way back. My brother and I founded the Brothers That Just Do Gutters. Built that from scratch. The two of us, just a bunch of knucklehead brothers trying to just do something. And eventually the idea and the dream of franchising it became a reality. It took us about 7 years from the time we conceived that idea, which was 7 years after founding it. And so, man, shoot, it was like 14 years from the time we started it to the time we actually franchised it in 2015. Built it up to about 100 locations and decided it was time to, and not locations, like actual franchisees, so not units. And we were like, man, what could we do to make sure that we can continue to serve our franchisees? What kind of partnership could we make? And we decided to partner with Riverside. We ended up in this platform called Evive, and I was fortunate enough, because I'm like sitting there like when we're meeting with some of the potential partners, I'm like, I'm not done. I'd love to continue to work with franchisors and franchisees. Had no idea what the role would be, but too young to retire. My wife would kill me if I was home all day, which I am, but like I'm working. So I got offered the opportunity to be the CEO of the entire platform and then building and acquiring brands. And that's been really exciting. So I've been doing that for the last 2 years. So there's a running start.
Love it. And so did Riverside have Evive Brands as a platform already when you joined it?
They did. It was they acquired 1 or 2 brands, and then they made it a platform with the third. I could be getting it a little bit wrong. And then we were the 4th one in there as Brothers That Just Do Gutters, and then start to build out that service side of the platform.
Awesome. And so for Brothers That Just Do Gutters, how did you guys learn of and decide to get into franchising with that? If you were running it solely by yourself for a while, like where was that turning point?
Oh my gosh. So the way my brain works, I'm a big systems guy. So my brother and I, we didn't start it anticipating to build it into something really cool. My brother worked for a gutter guy, loved the guy's lifestyle, so he quit his job teaching to go work for him and start his own gutter company. Never thought it would be like a big company. This was an owner-operator in the truest sense. Like my brother went out, did the work, he did the estimate, had 1 rotating helper, like that kind of thing. So I got involved out of necessity because I was working for a .com that became a .bomb. And so I'm working weekends, like just trying to make money. So it wasn't until we started to look at the business. I'm like, Ken, why don't I make you a website? We should put the clients in a database. And I started to systematize. I didn't really know I was wired that way. And then we started to get mistaken for a franchise because we had a brand, because we answered the phone, we did all these things. People would ask, are you a franchise? And my brother's a crazy visionary. He's like, Ryan, we should be. I'm like, franchise? I'm like, we could barely keep the wheels on this thing. But it was enough for us to start to really look at our business through a different lens and say, if we were to franchise, we got to fix this. We've got to have a better system for here. We've got to have a marketing system, all the things. So the concept of franchise was around 2007, but we weren't able to actually pull it off, or I didn't think we were ready. If it was up to my brother, we would have franchised the day he thought of it. If it was up to me, it probably still wouldn't be good enough because I like things perfect. So it was just like it was a way for us to, at the time, we were very naive to the whole franchising thing. It was basically us building in our retirement. We weren't very good about putting money aside. It wasn't like we even had a lot of extra money. We just kept building something. Like I feel like we're like 2 kids with a bunch of blocks, that if you keep giving me more blocks, we're just going to keep going until it falls over. I think that's like what we were doing. And it was just like, wow, we can get more trucks. And what about this? So just always trying to accomplish that next thing. And then we were thinking if we could teach others how to do this and we get a percentage, that's like us setting up ourselves for the future, as well as teaching other people how to achieve their dreams through what we're doing. So we didn't know the end game, didn't even know people, like we were so naive to it. I didn't even know people sold the entire franchise. Like first time like a private equity firm approached us, we set them up for a sit on FranDev. Here's your territory. And no, we're talking, I'm like,
that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it was pretty interesting what we were trying to do versus what we ended up doing. So that's like a little bit of insight.
Yeah.
It just
and
slowly.
What did you guys do on the marketing front then to refine? I'm sure there's a million things, like you said, that you wanted to perfect before franchising. What are some of those things that you did do on the marketing front to get dialed in?
Yeah, so it was all client-facing marketing. Like we didn't put a lot of effort into FranDev, right? We just continued. We had 2 pilot locations. And so at the time I was a web builder. So I built all the websites. I did all the SEO, PPC, all that kind of stuff for the brand. So we realized early on that marketing is the engine. So how do we do that for them so that they, like franchisees or people that do that, they don't become marketing experts. So we're like, crap, we got to be the expert for them. And it was great. I loved the Wild West. It's keyword stuffing was still fine and not black hat. You could like have a landing page for every city that you service and like you're killing it on Google. It was back in the day when you set a budget for $3,000 and they'd only spend like 500 of it because there's no inventory. Now you spend, no matter what you set your budget, they use it. So early on, we realized like we have to be the marketing engine for them. And a lot of that was just really being entrusted with their budget. So if they're willing to spend $1,000 a month, how do we get leads at $20 a click or all that kind of stuff? So early on, that was one of the number one things that we realized. And however, our local marketing plan was world class back then. My brother and I, we were master networkers. It's like my colleagues would joke and they'd call me the mayor. They're like, everybody. But that, I don't think franchisees realize how important and how many levers they have at a local level. As a national company and a brand fund doesn't do anything until you have so many franchisees. Like people are like, what's my brand fund doing? I'm like, 1% or 2% of this. It's like, yeah, we have what, $110,000 brand fund. That's barely paying for the person I hired. Yeah. So it was really important to have all that local stuff, joining the BNIs, the home shows, the door knockers, the four corner sales, like all of those levers that I feel like franchisees get lazy because in the service business, sometimes your SEO and all that stuff works really good and they have more leads than they can handle sometimes. And then when they don't, they just want to throw more money at it. And it's like, there's a diminishing return. Like, guys, do the fundamentals of local marketing so that you don't have to spend so much in your paid. So that was probably more of a answer than you asked for.
Yeah, no, so good. And I love that you guys were focused on website location pages and SEO out of the gate, because I think that's the other piece is so many brands fall behind and have a strong paid program and then are like, oh, where's our organic traffic? You need to actually put some effort into it, as well as doing a lot on behalf of the franchisees and then letting them be the mayors of their market.
Correct.
So I'm curious what you guys do now and how that's evolved in terms of, I always love to know from a portfolio, brand, and then local level, how you guys are structured. Obviously a single brand 10 years ago is very different from a platform company and how you go about marketing.
Yeah. The single brand, it's fun, but you need a lot of resources, right? To pay for all that, the people, the management, some vendors. Sometimes you find that doing something in-house is better until it's not. Some of the vendors, I think they'll start out great, right? First 6 months, you're like, they're amazing. And then they set it and forget it. And then you start looking at your results. You're like, what the heck's going on? So I think there's a healthy mix that you need to have a few in-house experts and then have some really good vendors that you're holding accountable. So that's what we found, especially once you start having a platform, you can do more shared services. So the economies of scale, the SEO, the pay-per-click, you start to really get a good mix. But then there's also that personal touch. Like every business is slightly different, and you want to make sure that like when a franchisee needs something, that you're able to help them with that and give that local feel, that local playbook. So that's just something that we're still tinkering with ways to be effective there, right? Because in a platform, you got to think there's one brand fund might be 200K, the other one could be 2 million. It doesn't mean that you can offer the same level of service. And that's, frankly, we've had some not fun conversations where the brand leaders or the franchisees, they hear, oh, you got this whole shared services, and they start hitting them up all the time. And so making the difference of, and this is a good distinction, it's like when a franchisee wants something, if it's only going to benefit them in their local market, like we had a franchisee that wanted to do these scratch off tickets for a home show. Awesome. But I can't use the brand fund for something that's only going to benefit 1 to 2 franchisees. So I think just making that distinction, but let's say it's a new home show display and this brand never had that before. We can go, oh, that's great. That's definitely something that we could use the brand fund dollars. We could put it in the store. We can build out that whole thing. And now everybody benefits. So that's been interesting in the platform because you can't just divide the money and disperse it equally. You have to give the right attention, the right allocation to the brands based on their budget.
Which is where I'm sure your systematic approach can also help, because then it always comes to expectation setting. And the more that you can have a firm handle of what those things are versus not, proactively share those things instead of always being on your heels and trying to put out fires. Like, it's just such a different way of operating when you can be on top of it, a little more organized versus that reactive fire drills, answering phone calls and triaging 24/7.
It is. And it's, people buy a franchise for support, but support doesn't necessarily mean that anytime a franchisee says the word marketing, that they get a call with the vice president of marketing. The FBC should say, tell me more. So we're training franchise business coaches how to read the marketing reports, how to understand when are we out of, when is it like when you raise your hand, say, hey guys, we're doing all the right stuff. Help me understand this. And the other thing is the cadence of the way we proactively give information, right? So if we're doing a bad job on our end communicating how their marketing's doing, then you're just going to be on all these one-up phone calls. Now we've got like a really good cadence that we're only getting better. Here's how your brand fund was spent. Here's what it did regionally. Here's your local marketing spend. Here's how your AdWords did. So we're working on more and more dashboards and things and insight so that we can push down the information, train the brand leaders and the FBCs how to read and interpret that so they can work with the franchisees unless one-ups are coming all the way up the chain, so that we can do more group meetings, more group info. I wish I could say it's perfect, but it's funny because we're building a platform. We're not like Neighborly where we've been a platform for so many years. Yeah. So as we're acquiring brands, you have their tech stack. You have all the stuff that they've always done, their vendors. And it's not like we're like, hey, only our vendors. Hey, every time we make an acquisition, we're like, wow, there's always some talent, whether it's on their team, whether it's a vendor. So it's neat, but it's also, you're constantly changing as a platform.
Yeah, and multiple systems you're dealing with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm curious too, I know we're off the heels of IFA, and one big theme was obviously AI, which we'll get to. But the data piece, especially, I think people are now realizing, okay, like data is everywhere. It's in these different silos. So it's not just about having the data, it's about how do you activate it. So when we talk about dashboards, like how do we better interpret it? How can we analyze the data and then make this super simple for the various stakeholders to then action on it? So I'm curious how you guys approach that. If you have a BI tool at the Evive Brands level, is it at the brand specific level? Like how do you guys approach the data piece?
Yes and yes. We have a Frankenstein of all sorts of stuff still. So again, being a platform that's evolving, you have your data sets, you have your CRMs, you buy a new brand and it turns out their CRM stinks and you're not getting the info. So now you're trying to get that data. One, you're either upgrading the CRM, which takes 6 months to 18 months just to do that. Yep. In the meantime, you're trying to get the data into some sort of a data lake that you can actually parse and make sense of. So we're at all varying degrees of success throughout each brand. But yeah, like the goal, and for some of it, we're getting good info out, right? So for some of the brands, my goodness, like the insight that we're getting, overlaying business intelligence, all that kind of stuff, bringing it into dashboards, that is the goal. to have all that kind of stuff. And what I love about what's happening is AI is really making it a lot better for even leaders like me. Every time I want to see something, I don't have to go and talk to the controller and say, could you run me a report that has this and this? Or, hey, can you make Tableau? I need all these. It's like, you can just start speaking to it. It's like, hey, there was a snowstorm that came across the entire region. Could you pull out for me any anomalies? Check close rate. Check actually who's working. Are there any missed days this month that are out? I mean, I love that. It's scary too, because depending on how you prompt it, you might get the wrong info. But It really is making data, trends, and a lot of things way more accessible to leaders like me, but the franchisee. There's different data set levels. Like, I need to see it from here. System sales, are we on track, off track? But the brand leader needs to see more. The franchisee needs to see even more. So it is super exciting. It is super exciting that and this isn't new, but it's never been better seeing an entire client journey from what ad they clicked on to how fast did you answer the phone, or putting AI in the call center. So now you're not having people. We're able to close so many of the funnels where we've used to have so much attrition from a lead to a form fill. They abandoned it, all this other stuff, to actually calling the call center, to getting an appointment. There's so much attrition that happens at the top of the funnel. Like we track close rate, right? Oh, I got a 50% close rate. Yeah, but how much did we lose before we even got in front of that client?
Yeah.
So finding that there's some really big holes, and no fault to anybody, it's just the nature of it. AI is super, super exciting because you're able to automate in more thoughtful, frictionless experiences for the client. You're not sitting through press 1 for an estimate and they press, or say this and they totally do the wrong thing, where the AI is removing so much friction in the client journey that we can, I think, those marketing dollars can go so much further. You don't have to spend more money. We can just trap or grab more in the funnel that inherently just gets lost.
Yeah. And understanding the priorities of where, like, if I had 10% of my time and resources to spend at the most important piece of the funnel or area, like, then you can know, oh, like, this is the biggest area to focus on. Like, why
Correct.
I work over here in our paid media program where 50% of our time could give 0.1% improvement, when a fraction of our time over here could get 10% improvement. Correct. That is working smarter, not harder. Or wait, smarter, not harder. That's what we want to do, people. Yeah.
Correct. If we could do both, work smarter and harder, oh my gosh, nothing can stop us.
Yeah. And yeah, the CRM thing I'm seeing as a big trend with marketers is, like, they've just limped along with something for so long because it gets so embedded into everything they're doing on the operations side that finally it's, we literally can't make the jump to understanding our data and being fully integrated with this old CRM that we're on. And there's just so much technology advancements and innovations happening that what was working 5 years ago could be completely off now.
And that actually makes it very hard to make decisions. Like, you've got some CRMs and you want to change, but then you're like, it's changing so fast. I'm like, will there be software? This out of the box stuff, everything is becoming so AI driven, but as a leader, you're like stuck in the mud. You're like, this one's new and shiny, but this one's tried and true. I'd hate to go 6 months, a year down the road only to find out I should not have experimented. Yeah. The bigger you get, the more you have to. I think it's hard to be as innovative and on the front edge. You can't be the guinea pig when you're dealing with 1,000 franchisees, as much as I sometimes want to. You have to be a little bit more safe. But I wrote down one of the big takeaways from IFA. I hate this, but it's great. I forget her name. She's a big influencer. She was amazing. One of the best speakers there, but it escapes me. The cost of waiting has never been so expensive.
Ooh.
And it's true when you think of, like, you didn't enable that chat bot or that AI on the website or that thing. Like, when you start to see how much you're missing by not having some of these things automated or using AI, it could be thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. It's ridiculous. And then back to one of your earlier points, marketing for so many years was such a one-way street for the marketer. Oh, I'm going to bring you all this traffic, impressions, clicks. And you're looking at it and you say, oh, here's my conversion. but you couldn't necessarily always see how many dollars that brought in. And I think what's so cool and so fun for marketers is that by connecting all of this stuff, it's now a two-way street. You can see this campaign, this group of AdWords has brought in $192,000 in estimate requests. However, now they can even see your close rate is 33%. So I can start to see as a franchisor, franchisee, I don't always need more leads. Sometimes I need better salespeople. I need to, and now with all the automation, this isn't new. HubSpot, Drip, Salesforce, all this stuff's been around forever, but it's always been clunky. All right, if they get the email, so the first day I'll send this, the second day I'll send this, right? Now AI is able to learn it, A, B, C, D, test it, change the messaging. It's just incredible, and it's happening fast. I wish I could say all the stuff I'm talking about is 100% implemented in every brand. It's not.
Yeah.
We're still building little Frankensteins while we work towards this like bigger agentic AI platform. But we're in the middle of it. We're done playing. I think the last 2 years was playing with AI. Now we're implementing it in meaningful ways.
Yeah, I love that. And so what does that vision look like for you guys?
It really looks like, again, it's all for the client. Like I'm all about removing friction for the client. Marcus Buckingham talked I saw maybe last year, and he talked about unloving handoffs. Our businesses are full of so many unloving handoffs. You don't answer the phone, they go on hold, you call them back, you pass a franchisee. Oh, that's not your FBC, that's marketing. Marketing's, oh, that's the social media. We do it to our clients. You put them on hold, you can't get them an appointment. This is closing the gap of friction. So we're providing better experiences for clients. There's a statistic out there that 72% of people or homeowners do not want to meet with somebody. Mm-hmm. And we've learned for so long, oh, you don't want any one-legger appointments. You got to have both decision makers there. I'm sorry, those days are dying. We have to become the best companies to never meet with. And how do you avoid becoming a commodity, right? Oh, here's the price. Oh, that's $10 more. I'm going to go with this one. So in this experience through AI, we have to still figure out how to drive our value through that experience. So if they're not going to meet with me, how do I become the best window cleaning company that you never met with? Where you might get a cheaper price. But my gosh, no way. I went on their website. They talked to me. We did a video walkthrough. They were able to see through Google. They're OSHA certified. No way. I go no further. So I feel like AI used successfully should not create friction. Like when you call your cable company and you're like literally losing your mind because of the way that they're using automation versus talking to somebody. Them being able to not press another button for an estimate. They're getting your info. They can see your calendar. They can book it. You don't need a human looking around anymore. You still need humans, obviously. We're not looking to replace everybody, but there's just these friction points that I think AI, done well, should reduce. And now franchisees are making more money. Clients are getting better experiences, and it works for everybody.
Yeah. And how do you as a leader then find those opportunities? Are you looking at data mixed with just experiencing that customer experience yourself personally to be able to match it up and prioritize where the focus is? Like, how do you go about that?
So I'm so operationally minded that I think this way already, which is great. But as a CEO, I've got to be a little bit more visionary, which I'm visionary. So it's like really inspiring my team to find out where all these unloving pass-offs are, and then teaming with the right vendors. So that's frankly one of the harder things. You got a lot of people saying they can do everything, and oh, we can do that, and can. So that's been the hard part, is really choosing a lot of the right vendors. And then as a platform, the scary part about a platform is the whole eggs in one basket. If I give all the SEO to one company, if I give it's my goodness, it's like you can sometimes, but I don't want so many cooks in the kitchen, but there's some different challenges. So you want to have your operating system, but then having the right vendors. So it's been difficult, I'll tell you, but got an amazing team where we'll make a decision for these 3 brands, see how it goes, if that works. So sometimes it's not overnight. I wish we could move faster, because that quote, It's never, the cost of waiting has never been so expensive, is literally keeping me up at night. And it's been a good sense of urgency for me to just move faster. And we're not signing, here's another thing. We're almost every contract we're signing is 6 months to 1 year. We're not signing long contracts anymore. Like, we've had to disqualify vendors because they want a 3 to 5 year contract. I'm like, no way. Yeah. No way. I'm stuck on your phone system for 5 years. Not in this environment. No. And a lot of them have been really, really good about wanting to prove it. Nope. We'll give you 6 months. Shoot, we'll give you 60 days termination clauses. So that's another area that I think, especially marketing, technology, IT, AI is getting cheaper and cheaper. So when a year ago they could charge so much money per franchisee because it was new and shiny. Now it's like some kid in the basement can do some of that technology. So that's why I'm really sensitive to long contracts right now.
Yeah. And one thing I love that we've seen a big trend on, and I don't know if you're feeling this, is also just marketers now being able to own more of what they're doing. So even if you're partnering with vendors, like, you should own your website. You should know what's going on with your website. You should, like, even if you use someone for AEO or SEO, understand every single tactic so you own the playbook, even if someone's helping with it. Own your paid media ad accounts. There's a shift towards that ownership of, okay, if you're building a strong foundation, own the foundation. Vendors can contribute the bricks to the foundation, but then, you know, you have it. Like, you are standing on something solid that's not going to fall beneath you if you need to swap a vendor out.
100%. I will never, ever go with a vendor that is hosting everything on a proprietary piece of something that if you leave them, they just migrate it off, and now you've lost all that SEO, you've lost all that time. Landing pages, franchisees can, hey, there's this company and they want to get holiday lighting, Pittsburgh. They're going to sell it to us. It's like, great. Let's hire them to compete with ourselves and our own website. Yeah. So there's just, it's so easy to do that. Owning your own domain, making sure the site structure is correct, that as you're building out landing pages and the whole duplicate content, it's all changing though. And I think what's going to be difficult is that nobody can do local marketing like the local person. The franchisees that are actually putting out decent Facebook content, Instagram, TikTok, that are really owning their bit, they're going to crush it. I don't care. You can never expect the franchisor to do any kind of meaningful social media other than something that's generic for an entire brand. When you're putting pictures of your team, something happening in your community, something fun, whatever, like, that is the gold that no franchisor will ever be able to do. They can give you best practice, they can set you up correctly, give you the framework, but the Google My Business page, I know it's called something different now, all of that stuff, franchisees got to realize, and this kind of sucks for everyone in business, if you're not marketing savvy in the next couple years, there's only so much a vendor can do for you. SEO, pay-per-click, they can do all that. But man, they really, even the good ones, it's so hard for them to post meaningful content daily, weekly, that's just not scrubbed from the internet. And, oh, this is trending. Let me put together a video with squirrels. People have squirrels today. That's the crap that vendors can do, which there's some value, but nothing like what a franchisee can do for themselves.
Yeah. To your point of being the mayor of your market. And I'm curious, for maybe just pick a brand like Brothers that just do gutters. What's your local marketing playbook for those Z's in terms of in market? What is the Z responsible for to be that mayor of their market?
Yeah. So it comes down to the smallest things. Like, we're big believers in everyone sells. So it's part of the system. So we're teaching installers how to get a 5-star review. It's, oh, we'll just use Podium or something. Yeah. But once they've left, getting that review gets a lot harder. So we teach them word tracks throughout the job thing, how they can just so knocking on 4 doors on every job. So you're getting the Google review, you're knocking on the 4 doors, you're continually hitting your current database. So many people don't hit their database. If you did a service last year, hit them again this year. They did gutters but didn't get a guard, or they didn't get it cleaning. What, you're going to let the competition clean it when it's time? There's a book, Acres of Diamonds. There are acres of diamonds in our freaking backyard, and everyone's like, maybe I need more territory. It's like, dude, You're sitting on $1 million in one location of open estimates.
Yeah.
Go close them. Go knock on a door. When you're meeting with a client, ask them if they're on Nextdoor or Facebook Mommy Group. Have them write something on the spot. We had a franchisee. He was having a very difficult time getting his installers to get reviews. So he decided to try and get reviews at the estimate. He got hundreds of reviews in a few months. And they're like, you didn't do the work yet, just on the, and he's like, could you just give me a review just on the process so far? So he built his SEO because he just was like, you know what? I need these. These are important and free. And it was awesome. So joining the BNI, joining the chamber, doing like street fairs. Like if there's going to be 50, 100 butts in a seat, go be there. There's just so much you can do. And then what we've gotten really good at is campaigns for the whole year. So by region, hey, it snows up here, but I'm not going to send out a ice damming email to the Florida residents. Actually, these days you might be able to. But regional stuff like that we've done a really great job at. Hey, this month we're going to concentrate on this month. So it's been really cool giving franchisees some fodder. We do curated shoots where you go out a couple times a year, you go to different regions of the country, you grab so much footage and data and that they can actually repackage for Instagram and all that. So we're always trying to give them something new. But yeah, there's a whole marketing playbook for each brand that they can do all these things so that everyone becomes a great local marketer when they have nothing, when they have no leads. Now all of a sudden people knock on doors and they start calling their database. But the thing is, I hate it because it's like I hear, oh, it's February. Hey, we're dead. We're doing a call party tomorrow. I'm like, stupid, waste of time. Nobody cares about gutters when there's 4 feet of snow on the ground. Unless, like, you should have been doing that when your demand is up, your activity should match it. And that's what a lot of franchisees do. They start, oh my gosh, my lead time's getting out, I'm going to lower my marketing. It's like, no, sell into the next dip. You know what? Sell into the next dip so that you don't have roller coasters. You have hills. I want hills. I don't want these things that make your stomach drop. So I know I just went on a tirade, but that's a little bit about it.
No, yes, I love it. I love the specificity of it for sure. And I'm also curious then, is there any other big initiatives you guys have going on for the year then? Outside of what we haven't talked about, which is a lot.
Yeah, no. So there's a couple right now. We have, with 2 of the brands, we have 2 call centers already that were established for the brand. The goal is through AI and a lot of the stuff that we're implementing. So right now we're doing a lot of practicing, conversational AI, working with vendors, after hours when somebody's not expecting to get a human. Hey, we can schedule your estimate. Why don't you try our AI chatbot? They're a little bit more inclined. So right now we're implementing a lot of that. But the big goal is that Evive Brands, if you're a franchise within us, we can answer your phones. We can schedule those appointments. We can do outbound at some point. So to me, there's a lot of opportunity at the top of the funnel. Franchisees are great at a lot of things, but they're not great at answering the phone when they're scaling, when they're small, when they don't want to hire that admin. They're answering the phone on an estimate or not. They're out doing a walk for an estate sale, so they didn't answer the phone. And there was a statistic, I'm going to misquote it, but it's like the first person to respond to an inquiry is 78% likely to get the job. Don't quote me on that, but it was something like that.
Directionally
and
correct.
That's the kind of stuff that freaks me out. It's, man, just getting back, I think in the window was within 5 or 10 minutes, I forget. So if I don't answer, we all do it. If I'm calling a plumber, first one leaves a message, I still need a plumber. And some of the services are urgent. Somebody looking for a plumber is not like thinking about, I might need a plumber someday. It's like something's happening. Yes. So then you hang up, you dial the next one, you dial the next one. If someone answers like, you know what, I can have someone out there later today, you're like, you're done. Done. Yeah. So that's where I think AI is going to make the big difference. It's going to level the playing field for people that are scaling their business. And it's also going to be a lot less expensive than having somebody sit there when you're first starting, just in case the phone rings.
Yeah, that's so good. And I know for us personally too, like we've gotten the franchisee who's, we're not seeing any leads. And then through call tracking, we can go in and see, ooh, you've gotten like 20 that you haven't.
I always get back to them.
You answered 1. Talk about the leakiest bucket. Like you are flushing money down the drain.
Correct. And as a one-way marketer, the only thing you can tell people when you don't have the data going back and forth is, I don't know, budget up. But like when you have the VoIP and you can see that, you can see their conversations stink. Who did you hire to answer the phone? It was terrible. There's so much attrition that this is going to bring to light.
Yeah, I also think that AI leveling the playing field with the speed to lead will further differentiate those brands that have strong value and differentiation with their brand. Like, I think almost the pendulum will start to swing towards that brand marketing and differentiator mattering more than ever, because there's a lot of brands who they might not be differentiated, but they can win because they are on top of their game from a technology perspective and winning that speed to lead. But now if that gets even, it's okay. We're swinging back to what are you truly doing? Like, now we got to work our other side of our brain marketers. Like, do we have our positioning, our messaging, our value prop, like really dialed in? Like, you have to stand out in crowded marketplace.
And I think that the thing that's going to happen is it's going to be real easy for somebody to look like anybody, right? They can answer the phone, they can have this great process, but actually delivering the service is going to become the differentiator, because there's people that are very web savvy and they can drive a lot of traffic, but if they cannot deliver the service, the experience in actually what they do, because I think it's going to be a little bit frustrating for some brands in the next couple of years, because they're way better, but some young kid in his basement could possibly build something more nimble and faster that's not tied to legacy software. It's never been a better time to like start a franchise and have a tech stack that's AI forward. I feel bad for some of the systems that are 20, 30 years old. They still have a couple franchisees on ledgers and this piece of software. It's really hard to pivot. And as a franchisor, it's really hard to get franchisees to buy in when it's going to cost them more money, unless you can show them how much more money that can make.
Yeah. Yep. So good. Was there anything that we didn't touch on that you wish we would have?
No, this was fun. This was a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, I know there's a ton I could ask some more, but I know we're at time. Maybe we could have you on as a second
whenever you want
guest later on down the road, see how everything's going on the systems front.
Absolutely. Would love to come back.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Ryan, and thanks for everyone who listened in to another episode of The Art of Franchise Marketing. Awesome.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Franchise Marketing. This show is brought to you by NetCertive. We help franchise brands and multi-location businesses run localized digital marketing at scale. To learn more, visit netcertive.com.